Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Mastermind session, to the series Spiritual Growth. I am yours truly, Amar Mari. I am the founder of El Kebalan Uni Alliance. My queen, Amani Amari, is the co-founder. And we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. Additionally, the knowledge of self. Thank everybody who has subscribed to our YouTube channel and also has started to follow us on Instagram. We greatly appreciate that. Again, this is not about fame. All right. This is about helping people to transform their minds. I believe in using this vehicle as a vehicle to disseminate the information I believe that will help to transform people's minds for the positive, for the better. And I'm grateful to be able to share my story with you. Thank my good brother, King Reginald, or the CEO of Kingdom Works, for tuning in, one of my mentees. I greatly appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for my queen and I, we greatly appreciate your continued love and support, man. And also keep posting those posts that you post. Those posts are very empowering, brother, very encouraging, very informative, and also life transforming. So keep doing great things, King. For those of you who do not know, I am a former bishop. My queen, Amani Mari, also is a former teacher in the Christian ministry, and we receive revelation knowledge about the things that we were following after, that we were taught from our adolescent years to adulthood, that we come to find out to be falsehoods. And so we decided to make the wise choice and to stop following after man-made traditions and doctrines and commandments that are parasitic. And once we did so, our minds became freed from those things. Okay, so I'm only here to share with you what I have experienced in my life journey. It's only been a total of, this year will be approximately 4 years that I've been walking on the spiritual path. And man, I tell you, this is the best life that I have ever lived, man. It feels so good to truly be free. Once I had a taste of true liberation, I will never return again, because I know better. I know better now. And so I continue to stand on my moral square. I will continue to uphold our culture, and I will continue to bring attention to those things that we have been taught that, unbeknownst to us, actually has incarcerated us. To some, they don't see it as bondage. Some, they feel like, well, I'm liberated now. And I personally believe that that's an illusion. There's no way that you can be free in jail. That doesn't make any sense. And I didn't understand it. I didn't see it either. And a lot of us don't know the aftermath of following after these man-made traditions and doctrines and commandments that have incarcerated us and has kept us from being the true spiritual beings that we really are. Unfortunately, we've been stripped of our culture. Okay? And our culture incorporates moral principles, and it also entails our spirituality. Okay? It's more to culture than what people think. It's more to it than food and clothing. Okay? The most important thing is the teachings, the moral teachings, the spiritual teachings. Okay? The family orientation that we have in our culture. Some have been tainted. Okay, as I have mentioned to you before in the past, in regards to the Sambaru women who unfortunately have experienced clitoris mutilation and forced marriages, and they were being abused, okay, by their own men, okay, as well as the British men who were raping them, you know, listen, we have a lot of issues. A lot of issues, man. We got a lot going on with us. The men and women alike. There's a lot of mental trauma that a lot of us have experienced. And we need to be set free in our minds. Okay, we really, truly do. A lot of us think that we're okay. I thought the same thing. I thought I was okay until I had a true encounter with the truth. Queen Mother Rhonda, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. Thank you. And we also appreciate your continued love and support. And also thank you for sharing and inviting the videos and helping others to be liberated in their mind, because this is what it's all about. It's about being set free. Okay? We are dealing with outside oppression, and we're dealing with inside oppression of our people. We really don't recognize that we really don't value our culture like we say that we do. And it's because of what has happened to us due to us being colonized. Okay? People don't want to deal with that, but this is the reason why we don't know our culture. Okay? This is the reason why we don't practice our spirituality. Okay? There's been a past interference. Now, I'm going to explain what I mean by that. There's tradition. Tradition is something that's being passed down. Right? And because of what has happened to us, because of us being taken out of our element and being placed in another element, it has tainted us. We have been cut off from our culture, and our culture consists of, as I aforesaid, spirituality, socialism, cultural pride, family orientation, morals and values. Those things are very, very, very important. And so many of us, we look around in our communities and we say, what is our problem? We're killing each other. We're stealing from each other. We're robbing each other. We're fighting each other. And all of this is a result of what has happened to us mentally. It is a fact that we were not in the condition that we were in until they came and they disrupted our culture. This is the problem with the African who are descendants of slaves, who are descendants of those who were cut off from their culture. The results of this being done is what we're actually experiencing. We're actually seeing the aftermath of what happens to a people that is cut off from their culture. We are an example to the world of what happens to a people when they are cut off from their culture. We're confused. We don't know who we are. We have an identity crisis. We don't embrace ourselves. We are the most persecuted people in this world. Everywhere we go, people are always forcing us to cut off our culture. Culture is very important. Culture is your identity. Culture sets rules and regulations and sets boundaries. Culture gives you guidelines to live your life by. This is the reason why a lot of our families are dysfunctional. You know why? Because we lack true African culture. We lack our spirituality. Ifa teaches you Uwa Pele, which means good character. Voodoo teaches you Uwa Pele, good character. It doesn't tell us to go out there and murder somebody like that Bible does. You go in the Bible, it'll tell you that if you tell a family member to go serve another God, it is the responsibility of that family member to be the first one to put their hands on that family member and to murder them. Okay? That is in the Old Testament. Look it up. If any man tell you to come follow after another God, you should be the first one to murder that person. Ifa doesn't tell you to do that. Voodoo doesn't tell you to do that. The only bloodshed is the sacrifice of the animal. Now, it's amazing to me how people, they're so appalled at sacrificing the animal, but they don't have no problem with eating the animal that's on their plate. I'm going to say it again. It is amazing to me how people are so appalled at animal sacrificing, but they have no problem with eating the cow, the pig, the chicken that's on their plate. They have no problem slaughtering that animal for food, but it's an issue when it comes to an Igbo, which means sacrifice, and voodoo and Ifa. Oh, it's no problem. It's nothing wrong with them eating their burgers and eating their fried chicken. Oh, it's nothing wrong with them having their steaks. But soon as an African slay a sheep or a goat, it's a problem. It's a problem. Because of us being colonized, we have become numb to our social ills. We can't even tell that we're sick, and a lot of us don't even know the remedy. And I tell you what the remedy is. The remedy is for us to return to our culture. Our remedy is to pick back up our spiritual systems and start applying these spiritual systems to our life and following after moral principles. Once we pick up our culture, we will find our love for our family again. Truly, our people are crying out because we don't pay attention to the fact that a lot of us are left with taking DNA tests just to find our family. I really don't think that our people really know how much of a job that colonization has done to us. We'll go to a Chinese restaurant. We'll go to a Japanese restaurant. We'll go to an Hispanic restaurant. We'll fly to Spain. We'll spend thousands of dollars to go to France and to to go to Paris, and we'll spend thousands of dollars to go to Canada, and we'll go to Rome to go see the ancient artifacts. In fact, some of us will fly even over to Jerusalem to go see where these so-called biblical figures were at, which never really even existed. We'll do that. We'll embrace everybody else's culture. We'll wear a collar shirt. We'll wear a polo shirt. We'll go buy Gucci. We'll go buy Louis Vuitton. We'll go get Prada. We have no problem with embracing other people's culture, but when it comes to ours, we shun it. Why is that? Why is that? The message today is about the mind. Because we have been programmed. We have been programmed to champion racist leadership in this country. We've been so brainwashed, we've been brainwashed to believe that the ones who founded this European government is our founding fathers. We call them our founding fathers, and they are not African. This is not our, listen, for those of us who have indigenous blood in us, like myself and like my wife, you know what I'm saying, who have Cherokee blood in us, okay, our relatives are indigenous to this continent. Some of us have indigenous blood for this continent. Okay? The Chickasaws and, the Shimalays and etc. Okay? Those are the indigenous people of this continent. Okay? This continent, for some of us who are in that category, who have relatives that, again, are native to this country, yes, this is our country too. Yes, it is. Africa is certainly our country too. Yes, it is. It is our birth. It is where our ancestors came from. Yes, it is. Yes. But this system is not our system. Why are we suffering so much? You know why? Because this way of life is not our way of life. And I pray that one day we become aware of this. We suffer so much because this system is not an African system. This is not our way of life. We're miserable. You know why? Because we've been cut off from our culture. This is why our people, a lot of us don't know why. Why are we so angry? Why are we so upset? Because it's our ancestors in our DNA crying out, and they're angry about what has happened to them. Our ancestors, we don't know why we're so angry, but the truth is, our ancestors are angry. Queen Carla Kemp, thank you for tuning in. Cousin Luella, thank you for tuning in. Blessings to you, cousin. Blessings to you also, Queen Carla. I appreciate that. Blessings, Queen Mother. Thank you. My good brother Kirby, thank you so much for tuning in, brother. Appreciate you, man. Okay, Queen Mother Rhonda said exactly, if people want an example, look at what has happened to us. Only people don't want our example. they would like to crush us and ask Sky Daddy for forgiveness when Sky Daddy doesn't exist. Well said. Razim Saheed, thank you for tuning in, family. All right, now, pay attention to this. It may be a Bible story, but I want you to pay attention to this. We're going through the same thing like what has happened to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel in the story. And I'm going to prove this to you. They were told to bow down at the music. They were told to bow down to the Assyrian gods, right? King Nebuchadnezzar told them, anybody that doesn't bow down to the gods, these idols, and they don't bow down during the time of this music, we're going to kill them. They will be murdered. I want you to think about Colin Kaepernick. I want you to think about every person that has rebutted against this system that has told us to bow down. I want you to think about everybody who rebels against this Eurocentric system that they enforce on us, that they impose on us. I want you to think about all the persecution that we go through. And guess what? Our people are so brainwashed, we even side with them. That European flag was created during slavery. Our ancestors were still slaves. They were still enslaved when the American flag was created. It was created in the 1800s. Our ancestors were still enslaved. Do you understand? And they want me to stand during the national anthem? In our literature in school, our young people are still learning about George Washington, a racist, the first president in this country, who became a president during the time of our ancestors were still enslaved. But you want to call a Caucasian your founding father? But yet we will deny our own ancestors. This is a problem. And I'm not beating anybody up. I'm trying to get us to see the problem with that. We'll celebrate Memorial Day and to remember people who did not die for us. But we have a problem with pouring libations to our ancestors and honoring our grandmothers and our aunties and our uncles who we love so much. But we have no problem on the 4th of July, Independence Day. That was not our Independence Day. But independence for who? Our ancestors were still slaves. We've been brainwashed. What independence? That was Europeans fighting other Europeans. We don't even pay attention to the fact they was trying to control each other. These people are so messed up mentally. They can't understand it. They can't see it. They tell us to forget about what happened to us. That was hundreds of years ago. Well, let your grandma and your grandfather and your aunties and your uncles and your cousins get raped and get killed and their land being stolen and try to be sold back to them. and see how you feel about that. Let's see whether or not you're going to say that if that happened to your ancestors. Let the tables turn for a moment and let the cops be African and start shooting them because they're Caucasian, and let's see if they're going to say the same exact thing. Let's see if the European will say that same thing if it was African literature being taught to their children and it was Africans who enslaved them. Let's see how they will feel. Manipulation and control, family. Manipulation and control. Every ancestor that they knew about that was influencing our people to be free in their mind and to fight, like the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King, the Honorable Malcolm X. One of our own killed him. One of our own sided with the enemy and killed our ancestor. I don't think that some of us understand how mentally messed up we are, calling our women bitches, calling our women hoes, and then when I talk about spirituality, people act like it's the plague. I guarantee you, you mock my word with the spirit of wisdom, I guarantee you that the African people will continue to suffer until we turn back to our culture and we start embracing who we are and turn back to loving each other. Turn back to working together as a family and as a team. Together, everyone accomplishes more. Until we stop looking at each other like we're enemies. Until we turn back to morals. Our women are still going to look like they're going to a strip club. Our men are still going to call our women bitches and whores. Our men are still going to continue to gang bang. Our men are still going to continue to leave their women and leave their families until we turn to moral principles, until we turn back to who we really are. We're going to continue to commit suicide. We're going to continue to self-destruct. We're going to continue to destroy ourselves. We have to turn and live. We need to lead the way of the European. We will continue to die spiritually. We will continue to die physically until we turn back to the ways of our ancestors. We'll continue to walk around here like zombies, brainwashed out of our minds, living a European life. Give them back their religion. Give them back their culture. Africa for the African. Europe for the European. Africa for the African. And Europe for the European. Let them have back their gods. Let them have back their religion. Give them back their culture and turn back to the way of your ancestors. This is why we're suffering, family. If you take a fish out of the water is the life source for the fish. When you take the fish out of water, the fish dies because it doesn't have the oxygen. It gets its oxygen from the water. So when you take the fish out of its element, out of its life source, the fish dies. The reason why we're dying because we've been taken from our continent. We've been taken from our life source. We've been cut off from who we are. So we're dying because we've been disconnected from our life source. It's just like somebody pulling the plug and the person dies. Our cultural plug, family, has been pulled from us. Our life source, our culture, our spirituality has been cut off from us. And because we've been cut off from that, we're dying. We're dying spiritually. We're dying physically. It is paramount. It is critical for our survival to turn back to the ways of our ancestors. The way of the European has corrupted us. Family, watch the news. Look around you. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to what's happening. Our ancestors are crying tears spiritually because of the way that we have ended up. Slavery, colonization has messed us up. They didn't help save us. They incarcerated us. They didn't make our lives better. Look around you, African man and woman. The way of the European has not helped us at all. Look around you, elder. Look at what your children is doing to each other, elders. Look at how we're killing each other and stealing from each other and robbing each other and raping each other and abandoning our responsibilities. Look at how many of our men are in jail. Look at our women in jail. The European way has not helped us at all. It is an illusion. They have made us delusional. The way of the European has caused us to commit suicide. They're the ones who put gangster rap in our neighborhood. They're the ones who put the drugs and alcoholism in our neighborhood. They're the ones who put us on ships and brought us over here and took us from our agriculture, took us from our source of livelihood. They're the ones. We didn't do that to ourselves. We wasn't like this before the European came into our countries and cut us off. The reason why we're out of our minds, you know why? Because we literally are out of our minds. We don't think like Africans. We don't. Where's the respect for our elders? Where's the queen mothers in our villages? What happened to the position queen mother? Where's our babaluas? Where's our shamans? Where's our teachers? The queen mothers in our villages taught the women the way that we birth our children. We didn't birth our children that way. Our children don't need all these shots. Don't tell me that our children need these things. When our children over in Africa, our people are over in Africa, they still alive. The one that is away from modern day civilization. We got all type of examples in front of us, black man and black woman. Wake up. You see it on National Geographics. You see our people that are not involved in modern day civilization. They are still breathing and they are still alive without these vaccinations. We don't need the white man's way of life. African man, African woman, return back to the ways of a Gungun, the way of our ancestors. Find out who you are. Go to AfricanAncestry.com. Start asking your elders in your family, grandma, grandpa, where did we come from? This is critical to our survival. People think this dashiki is a joke. It's not a joke. It's who we are. We African. This is not a fad. This is who we are. It identifies you. This is my identity. If I put on a uniform and I was a cop, when you see me coming, you're going to know I'm a cop. If I put on a nurse uniform, you're going to know that I'm a nurse because you see me in my scrubs. If I have on a fireman suit, you're going to know I'm a fireman because of my uniform. This is identity. It's more to our clothes than what we think. Your name, it means more than what you think. It's an identity. Our names have meaning. Amari means strength builder. It's Cushite for strength builder. My wife's name is Amani. Her name means peace. Our names mean something. It identifies who we are. When you have an African name, there's no question that you're African. It's not a question. But I guarantee you, if you have a name like my government name, okay? My government name is Alton Dewey Walden III. Okay? Now listen. No European, not even no African person would know that I'm an African until they talk to me or they see me. If your name is John Wilson, I guarantee you no Caucasian person will know that you're not Caucasian until they talk to you or see you. Okay, let me go into the comments. King Michael Neil Shabazz, he said, sadly, most of our elders don't know. They were stripped of their identity and were programmed to a new identity. Exactly, brother. Exactly. Do you not understand, family, how backwards we have become because of the way we've been brainwashed? Do you not know I'm the one teaching my own grandmother her culture? I'm teaching my own grandmother this. That's backwards. Our elders are the ones that taught us. And we think nothing of it. Some of us think nothing of it. Some of us think, oh well, I'm good. No, we're not good. We think that we good because we got fancy cars. We think that we good because we got money. We think that we good because we got a nice house. But the most important thing is the knowledge of self. That's what we don't have. We don't have an identity. Black is not an identity. That's not what you are. Like myself, I'm Asante. I'm a part of the Akan people. I'm Yoruba. That's what I am. Black is a color. That is not my culture. That is not what my ancestors called themselves. That is not what my people call ourselves. We are the Akan people. My language that we speak is Asante Twi. That's what we speak. Whenever I sign anything and they ask me my culture, I do not put black. I put Asante. Because that's what I am. Do you know who you are? Who are you? No, you're not a Smith. No, you're not a Williams. No, you're not. At family reunions, we need to stop buying those t-shirts. We need to stop spending our money on those shirts and putting those slave master names on there. I'm not a Walden. Even though that's my government name, I'm not a Walden. That is the name, the last name, the surname of the slave master that bought my ancestors. I'm not a Walden. No, I am not. I am an Akan. I am a Santi. I am a Yoruba man. I'm not a black man. I'm not an American. I am a Santi. I am from the Akan people. My ancestors have shown me the way and showed me who I am. Who are you? I'm also part of the Sagila people, not the Cherokee. That's a European title. That is the people that my great-great-grandmother came from, who was born here in Florida, who was full-blooded, who my grandfather met once he was freed from slavery and met my great-great-great-grandmother here in Florida, and then come all of us. I am not an American. I am not black. Okay? I got part Akan in me. I got Yoruba in me. I got Tasagala in me. But I don't have the rest of that other stuff in me that the European says. I am not who the European says I am. I am who my ancestors is. Kuji Chagalia. I define myself. I don't let nobody who stole my ancestors tell me who I am. That don't make sense. I don't trust them with my life. I don't trust them with my culture. I don't learn my culture from no European. I learn from my own people. Everybody who's my teacher is straight from Africa, straight from Ghana, straight from Nigeria. I don't let no Caucasian person. How can a Caucasian person teach me about my identity and they're confused about them not being commissions. They put themselves in the movies claiming to be Cushites. What? So how can I trust them to tell me who I am? They tell me to go back home like they're from here, from the continent called America now. How can I trust somebody who's delusional like that to teach me about myself and they wrestling with who they are? They lying on paperwork saying that they Cherokees. Just as pale as can be, talking about they Cherokee. Talking about they Shimale people. Just as pale as they can be, talking about that they're Cushites. No, they're Caucasians. They come from the Caucasus Mountain. Do you not know the state of Georgia? The Georgians are actually a people. Do you not know Georgia is a state that's named after Caucasian people? Georgians are actually Caucasian people. Check the record. Syracuse is over near Italy. Do you not know the places where they come from? They named the states after the places where they come from, like New York, York. How can you trust somebody that is teaching our children to champion people who enslaved our ancestors, and even to this day, they murder us in the streets? How can you bow down to a flag and call that your flag? My dear brother and sister and elder, you are lost. I'm telling you in love, you need to find yourself. Because that red, white, and blue flag is not your flag. Your flag come from Africa. Your flag is African. That red, white, and blue flag with those 50 stars on it is not your flag. That does not represent the African, man or woman or elder. No, it does not. That does not represent our people whatsoever. The only way that we're going to stop being ashamed of who we are is we start loving ourselves by us embracing our culture. I'm tired of seeing my people hating themselves. I'm tired of seeing our people embrace other cultures and run to other countries and don't even go visit their own. I'm tired of seeing us eating European food, eating Greek food, eating Hispanic food, eating Chinese food, eating Japanese food, and we won't even embrace our own culture. Some of us haven't even been to Jamaica. Some of us haven't even been to Bahamas. Some of us haven't even been to the Virgin Islands, but we've been to Paris and France. We've been to London. We haven't even been to our motherland, but we call ourselves Mecca and over to a country that, come on. To Jerusalem, that's not our country. But we haven't placed foot on African soil. This is how messed up we are. Today it's about the mind. Family, I love you. I thank you all for tuning in today. I highly encourage you, if you don't know who you are, find out who you are. I'm not talking about just African, because we all know that we come from Africa. You must understand, when you find out the people that you are, you must understand it comes with your culture. And then you must understand it comes with your spirituality. Yoruba and a lot of people in Ghana who haven't been colonized, we practice Ifa. Or we practice voodoo. That is our way of life. Spirituality is a way of life for us. Love is a way of life for us. You have to go back and you have to get in contact with your people who are organically from there and who live there, who was raised in their culture and can introduce you to our culture. You have to find your right mind, African man and woman. It's time for you to get in your right mind. It's time for you to find yourself. We've been lost long enough. Family, we've been lost long enough. We've been blind too long. None of these spiritual books today are really our books. I know some people will argue with that, but it is the truth. It is not ours. It's not. People can say whatever they want to say. We were animists. Our people are animists. These teachings are not ours that come out these Bibles and these Quran. It's not. It is not. It's not our way. It's not. I understand that you may be a loving person. I understand that you feed the poor. I understand you have a good heart. I understand that, my dear brother and sister, and by no means am I trying to offend you. I'm saying this because I love you. And I'm just telling you, unbeknownst to you, I understand you were raised to follow the Bible. I understand you was raised to follow the Quran. I understand that. I got that. I hear you. I understand you. But the truth is, our people are animists. We believed in acknowledging our ancestors. Our ancestors had interfaces with extraterrestrial beings. Our ancestors received the wisdom from the gods. This is the reason why our people are lost. You know why? Because we have based our life on the book. My dear brother and sister and elder, the wisdom of the gods is too vast to be contained in a book and to be contained on ink and paper. Unbeknownst to you, you have literally incarcerated the grand creator. Unbeknownst to you, you have restricted the creator of this universe and have limited the creator and have made the creator condense down to a book. The wisdom of the universe is too vast, my dear brother and sister and elder, for you to contain the wisdom of the universe and to minimize the wisdom of the gods and the ancestors to a book in ink and paper. It's too vast. They seen the star of Sirius without a scope. The gods came and told them that. The ancestors received mathematics from the gods. Our languages was given to us from the gods. Turn back to the ancient way. Turn back to your gods. Turn back to your way of living. Our creator is too great. The grand creator is too great. The gods are too great. The goddesses are too great for you to restrict them to ink and paper. Our tradition is oral. My dear brother and sister, it's oral. This is the reason why we can't find the writings of most of our languages. This is why we can't find our traditions, a lot of them written down in stone or on paper. It's because it was passed down verbally and it had to be memorized. And our ancestors taught us this. Our grandparents, our aunties and our uncles, our elders taught us these things. The queen mothers, the Babaluas, the shamans, they taught us the ways of the gods. Turn back. Turn back to our moral principles. Turn back to our culture. Turn back to our way of life. It's time. It's time. This is the Great Awakening. And it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to stop being afraid. It's time for us to be willing to lose our lives if we have to, like our ancestors did, like some of our ancestors who threw themselves off of the slave ships rather than to be enslaved by some stranger. They died. Don't believe the lies that you heard about us just giving up and saying, oh, okay, here comes Shackle Me. Shaka Zulu didn't say that. Thomas Sankara didn't say that. Julius Nyerere didn't say that. Queen Azinga didn't say that. Harriet Tubman, she didn't say that. Rosa Parks didn't say that. Winnie Mandela didn't say that. Coretta Scott King didn't say that. Betty Shabazz didn't say that. Dr. Francis Krauss Welsing didn't say that. Yaa Asantewaa, she did not say that. Nat Turner didn't say that. Toussaint Louverture didn't say that. Huey P. Newton didn't say that. Khalid Muhammad didn't say that. Elijah Muhammad didn't say that. They did not lay down. When they did lay down, it was time for them to go. The Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King didn't say that. The Honorable Malcolm X did not say that. Let our ancestors live on. Don't let their dying be in vain. Don't let their labor be in vain. They didn't labor for us to stay in prison. They fought for us to be set free. Stop being afraid, African man and African woman. Stop being afraid. Stop being afraid of your business being shut down. Stop being afraid of dying. Who's going to save our children? Who's going to fight for our culture? Who's willing to die for this? And I promise you, there's just not no Facebook thing with me. Check the record. I promise you, this is not no Facebook thing with me. Check the record. I was on the news in Hollywood fighting for them to tear down those racist names and streets of racist generals in Hollywood, Florida. When that racist jumped over the doggone line and tried to attack us. I was right there on the news, standing my ground with my hands up, ready to throw down. This is not a game. They will not incarcerate my grandchildren. They will not. They will know who they are. My son knows who he is. Check the record. Look at the video. Look at him with his dashiki on. I will not stand by and let my ancestors' legacy get trampled on by my enemy. I will not stand by and allow them to disrespect our culture like this. I will not stand by and let them demonize our ancestors' ancient and our traditions. I will not do it. They will not continue to steal our culture like in Catholicism and honor their saints and to tell us honoring our ancestors is wrong. No, I won't tolerate it. I won't tolerate it. I will not allow any of our elders or brothers and sisters or my peers stand there and ignorantly disrespect our culture and our traditions. You will not do that in my presence. How dare you speak on our ancestors like that? How dare you spit on their graves like that? How dare you disrespect them like that? Calling them devils when they died for you. Shaka Zulu, he fought the British to keep them from coming in there. The Maroons, they fought the British and kept them from coming in there. Thomas Sankara kicked the French out of Burkina Faso. It was called Upper Volta. The men and the women came together and gave them the boot and told them to get out of here. Well, I'm one of these elders in my community that will stand up against our own and these races. You will not come in my community, and you will not continue to force the Europeans' way of life on us. You will not, black man, continue to call our women bitches and whores around us. They will not continue to capitalize and monetize on our demise as long as this elder is here. It won't happen. Not on my watch. Doggone it. If I could put on a Marine uniform and go over to Iraq and lay down my life for their selfishness, how dare I not lay down my life for the love and the liberty of my people? I'm going to say it again. If I could put on a Marine uniform and go over to Iraq and lay down my life over the Europeans' greed ignorantly, then how dare I not knowledgeably lay down my life for the liberty of our people? They will not continue to hide behind their lies. They will not continue with their hypocrisy. They will not continue to enslave our people. This is the Great Awakening. Love you. Thank you all for staying tuned in. Queen Carla, okay, I'll give you some books, sis. Vera Arakawe, our Yoruba sister. I receive it. Thank you. And congratulations once again on your marriage. Tremaine Rayford, thank you for tuning in. Believe my first time seeing you. Thank you so much for visiting. And hopefully something was said today that will bless you. Queen Courtney, thank you for tuning in. My good brother, Keys, man, thank you so much for tuning in, brother. I appreciate you, man. I love you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Blessings on you and the family. All right, family, I'm tuning out. My cousin Clint, thank you so much for tuning in, cousin. I love you, man. Appreciate you, bro. My good brother Mark Cox, who served in the Marine Corps with me, one of my Marines, who also laid his life down on the line. I honor you today, my brother. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Peace, love, and power, family. You have a blessed weekend. Tune in next week for the next spiritual growth session. Peace.